There are a handful of recorded lectures online by Jim Rohn, who has definitely become one of my favorite thinkers over the years. And I found this little nugget the other day that I wanted to share. He says, there are 4 emotions that will change your life: disgust, decision, desire, and resolve. And I want to talk about the first one because I found the story to be incredibly powerful and also relatable, right, in various aspects of life over the years. So he frames it by talking about a Girl Scout walking up to his front door to try and sell him some Girl Scout cookies when he's 25 years old. And he's broke, doesn't have any money at the time, and tells her what I assume to be a white lie as to why he can't buy the cookies at that particular time, right? So he tells her that he can't. She walks away. He says after he closes the door and goes back inside, he felt something that completely changed his life. Disgust. An overwhelming feeling that he simply didn't want to live like that anymore. He didn't want to lie. He didn't want to be broke. And I'm quoting him. He says, the day you can say I've had it may not be the day it ends, but the day it begins. And that feeling, which of course on the surface seems like a terrible thing, right? No one wants to feel disgust with their circumstance. But it's ultimately one of the most powerful indicators life can present to us. There has always been, and I assume will continue to be, that point in many different facets of my life where I say enough is enough. I just never thought to categorize it and label it like he did, but that's what it is. You know, getting to a point where you look around and realize you've conceded too much. You've strayed too far beyond what matters to you. You've left too much on the table. That feeling, again, while uncomfortable, is often what becomes the first step towards that which is truly meaningful, a better version of yourself. A realization, by the way, that's not some denunciation of who you are, right? It's not saying, I'm not good enough or I'm inadequate. I would describe it as the exact opposite. It's thinking enough of yourself to acknowledge that you're better than this. It's saying, yeah, there's a reality where I stay the same, where I don't change, where I allow this to just be my life. But that's not the reality I'm going to choose, because I respect myself too much to continue living with that dissonance between my actions and who I know I truly am. And I think at a deep level, we all understand this. You know, so many times in life, funny enough, we don't change until we have to, until our backs are completely against the wall. It took me years in my previous professional life to say enough is enough, but ultimately got to that point. I've been there in relationships, been there with my creative work, been there with my finances. And what's especially interesting is that as you grow, evolve, and your goals change, what you expect of yourself changes, grows along with you, you'll find yourself at that place again, and again, and again, and that's good. Listen to it, right? That's your intuition telling you you're ready for more, that something else awaits, that the status quo is no longer sufficient. And there lies the opportunity. Right, to recognize and associate that feeling of disgust, as Rohn calls it, with the need to change or an opportunity to change before things blow up or become more difficult than they need to be. Everything in your life has been allowed by you to some extent. You know, that's an important thing to understand. If there's someone in your life that's making it hell, you, to an extent, are responsible for that, right? No one gets your time without your permission. If you're doing things that don't move, motivate, or inspire you, well, the reality is you're choosing those actions. Now, the circumstances may be specific to you, they may be difficult, and I understand that, but Are you asking yourself how you can begin moving away from it? How you can put walls between yourself and the things that drag you down? Because the bottom line is, it's very easy to become accustomed to things that are a drain on our lives. The old frog in the boiling water, right? You throw a frog in a pot of hot water, it'll jump right out. But you put it in a pot of cool water, and you slowly but incrementally increase the temperature until it's boiling, the frog won't realize it's burning alive. I think in the same way, we learn to live with that situational disgust. The things we're unhappy with just become the baseline or normal. It becomes regular. And what I love about this Girl Scout cookie story is that light bulb moment where it's like, no, I don't have to accept this. I can take back control. I dictate how I'm going to live, and I know this isn't it. Now, you don't need to have all the answers right away. In fact, you most certainly won't have them. But every journey, as the saying goes, begins with the first step. That's precisely why the moment is so powerful. You don't start moving to that new place until you realize that you want to start moving away from where you are. Rohn talks about disgust being a powerful motivator. That's why. It's the initial leverage you need to create that momentum. To see the gap between where you want to be and where you are. And this is ultimately a call to that realization. Do an audit on yourself and your contentment, the places you find lacking. They're calling for your attention. And it's normal, it's okay, it's part of life, but it's also your opportunity to begin making that change. I like very simple, very straightforward notes to help me parse through this. Simple list, 2 columns. On the left, everything that brings me some level of anxiety or that is a drain on my peace. And on the column on the right, directly across from it, simply what I plan to do about each item. Nothing major, but a tangible, manageable step. Because as Jim Rohn says, you begin to utilize that feeling of disgust or discontent to act. You turn that message into something beautiful, an adventure, some variation of growth. That's where the good stuff is. By the way, it also changes our relationship with those emotions when they emerge. It's no longer poor me. I'm stuck, my life is hard, and the list goes on and on. No, it's, oh, this doesn't feel good. How can I use it to connect me to something that does? Let's listen to that. I don't like the feeling of making excuses as to why I can't buy the cookies. I don't like the feeling of not having the financial resources. Obviously, can't fix it overnight, but let's make a plan. Let's allow the wheels to hit the road, right? Which, hey, who knows, might be more than I've ever done. This is the magic beginning he alludes to. The confidence being earned, the purpose, the meaning, and ultimately being that we only get results where we place our attention, the outcome we've been looking for. So when you find yourself at that point, when you experience a repetition of disappointment or frustration with your circumstance, let that be the gift it's trying to be. Let it be the reason you will soon wake up a different person, moving towards that which aligns with who you are. For years, we've talked about it. The mindset, the philosophy, ideas about how to live a better, healthier life. And that's important. But the reality is, it's one step of many. At some point, you have to act. And that's why we've created AGNS Academy. It's a place where your mind gets sharper, your body gets stronger, and arguably most importantly, you're on that journey with a group of people holding each other accountable and lifting each other up along the way. So if you've been listening and listening and listening and are wondering where to take it, AGNS Academy is the answer. You can find the link in the description and show notes below. It all starts with belief. Belief is that ladder thrown down to you that provides just enough assistance for you to climb out of one reality and reach up into the next. Without belief, rules don't change, walls stay up, stories merely repeat. And actually, I'd state it's not that believing ensures some incredible evolution. No, of course not. Nothing in life is guaranteed. But to not believe is to ensure that you will stay the same. So where? Where are these little pockets of belief? These little spaces that arm us with the tools not to solve everything, but to lift our heads up and solve the current thing. They give just enough strength to see what was unseen moments before. So how can I find these? How can I believe? The other day, I was with some friends. We just finished doing some hiking in Sedona, and we're all sitting around a table, and the topic of belief came up. And, we're all kind of passing it back and forth in different contexts, talking about our life inflection points. And one came up that I thought was incredibly powerful that I want to share with you. It's from my friend Adam. I got his thumbs up to pass it along. So I'm going to give a Cliff Notes version, but my hope is very soon you'll hear the full version from him, because I certainly don't do it justice. Essentially, he said he could pinpoint the exact moment his life changed. When a new reality reemerged, when he could draw a line, point to the other side and say, look, that is no longer me. And he shared this story about being a kid in, I believe, San Diego, and watching a boat go by. And as any kid would do, got excited, pointed at the boat, said how much he liked it, and someone in his family who was with him said, essentially, that's great, honey, but those types of things are not for us. Essentially implying that, he'll never have a boat. And it was a message not out of anger or malice, but said out of love. Because we want to protect the ones we love, naturally. Right? We are inclined to have them aim low and stay safe rather than aim high and fail spectacularly. Again, that's instinct, and it's something not some of us, but all of us need to unlearn. Right? So years and years go by. He finds himself in a difficult place in life. He's 33 years old, knows in his core he's ready for something else. There's more, but just can't quite break through. He envisions going back, having a conversation with that younger version of himself. See, that kid, that younger version of him had the whole world in the palm of his hand. That kid could do anything. That kid, if he really wanted a boat, could certainly find a way to make that happen. Right? But somewhere along the way, it got plugged into his subconscious mind that reality means less. That the best of the best, well, that's for the other guys. And we all, in one way or another, face this. It's in realizing that we've narrowed the scope of our realities that allows us to finally change. That's all it is. A realization. Now, I'm obviously biased because I think the world of the guy, but he is the 1% of the 1% in his space. Guy's an encyclopedia. Started multiple successful businesses, right? Just changed the entire trajectory of his life. Works with insane clients, does crazy things. It's not because he changed. It's because the way he saw himself changed. It's because his level of belief changed. No miracles, right? But when you broaden the size of your world, you broaden the permissions you give yourself. When you believe more is possible, you act in a way congruent with more. See, he did nothing but give himself permission. Permission to use that strength, that same strength he's been carrying around since he was a child. There's a saying that a fish has no idea it's in water because water is all that fish has ever known. Change requires stepping out of the stream and looking back at it with a new pair of eyes. Realizing that restraints and limitations aren't always obvious. They're not always malicious. Sometimes they're the things we've accepted without a second thought. The ideas we've taken in and the stories we've adopted. What's required is that you look around and ask why. Why have I stopped here? Why have I put a wall around my life? See, those boats going by are owned by people who deem themselves worthy of owning a boat. Those in incredible physical shape are the same people who said, I am that, I just need to start living like it. Those who do what they love are people who stopped going through the motions, looked around and said, I can create a reality congruent with who I am and what I love. I can find that intersection of what I enjoy and what adds value to the world. I can do that. And see, nothing happens without that initial belief. I didn't think I could build something on my own until I was literally 26 years of age. I just went around doing what I was supposed to do with my head down, right? I didn't think I could 10, 20x my income. No, that's for somebody else. I just walked around telling myself I don't care about money, right? I adopted so many limitations that unlearning them has been a second job. But if you teach yourself to ask why, you become invincible. The things you don't like can be changed. The people who don't elevate you can be left behind. The labels and narratives of yesterday can be forgotten. So long as you believe you are worthy of leaving them in pursuit of something else. Something you've been ready for, destined to pursue since the day you were born. You don't need an answer book or special tools or anything from anyone. You need to believe that one, more exists, and two, you are worthy of it. That is the intersection where life truly begins. Stop protecting what you've built, like what you've built is what holds the value. No, the value is in the builder, his or her knowledge and ability to build again and again if they so desire. On an episode last week, I talked about a conversation recently had at a mastermind in Santa Monica. I want to pass along one more piece of wisdom from that day that I found to be incredibly valuable. This was just a random comment made by someone in the group. And so to kick off the scenario, someone asks everyone in the room, hey, but what if things don't work out, right? And it was more specific. I forget exactly what it was. Something along the lines of, what if the monthly revenue decreases? Or, what if my target or my intended outcome doesn't evolve or unfold the way I wanted it to? What then? Is it worth taking the risk? And this person stands up and says, listen, we need to stop looking at our businesses like it is the only business, like it is something that needs to be protected, that if it falls down or if it's taken away, it's over, it's the end of us. We are entrepreneurs, which means the power and strength is in our ability to build again, not the thing that's built, right? Theoretically, we should be able to do this over and over and over again. And what we do, and obviously I'm paraphrasing all of this, right? But what we do is we put cages around ourselves and our potential. We shackle ourselves to the current moment instead of taking the necessary risks because we're thinking, what if we lose it all? Well, fine. It's the ability to build again. And I loved the idea because, man, it's relatable to me, right? I have 3 businesses I'm growing right now, and every single one of them, I find myself playing conservative at times. not wanting to break the momentum or what's going. Right? I've spent a decade building this, and the most valuable thing I've acquired or produced is not the company. It's the ability to add value. Right? That's what's been built. And even if the physical company disappeared overnight, no one can take what's been learned. I think it was in the book, The Happiness Hypothesis, which was one of the first books I read almost a decade ago prior to starting my personal brand and really beginning my journey. And the idea was like you could take everything away from the top, 2 to 5%. Maybe it was all the way up to 10. And they would reacquire it in the next 10 years, right? Because it's not the stuff they had that made the difference. It was their ability to acquire it. Their understanding of the world, not looking at life through a scarcity mindset, but an abundance mindset, positioning themselves to build and grow. That's something that cannot be taken away. And this is all a message that is hitting at the exact time I need to hear it, right? Be bold. No, that's not bold. That's maintenance. That's doing what you've always done. Plus maybe a little extra here or there, right? Truly living is about uncapping yourself in totality. Really reaching. Because you know that it's not the entity that holds the value, it's the one or ones who brought it to life. It's crazy to me that even when you are aware of fear, when you understand our proclivity to play scared, right? You get it. It's something we need to look out for. Even then, do we still find in our own lives places where we're limiting ourselves? As if the fear just hides in the shadows, right? Controlling the subconscious from a distance, like a puppet master. Strength, growth, evolution is the ability to find that fear and dismantle it. As was said to me a few years ago, most actions are reversible, right? Meaning you can make a mistake and it can be reversed. It can almost always be fixed, or at least reapproached from a more intelligent angle. But what certainly cannot be fixed or changed or adjusted are roads never walked, adventures never begun. And with a scarcity mindset, you spend your entire life in your corner, protecting the little fragments of life you've collected along the way. Right? That's it. But if you can flip that, if you can find a way to see the abundance, the value, the infinite opportunity, you realize it's not in those little fragments you've collected, but the understanding that you can always collect more, and not only that, build something beautiful with them. Not only acquire more, but use them to create a new reality. Bend and shape the word normal like it's clay. Like the world around you is not giving orders, but taking them. You hold the value, not what you've made. You. Right? We've all heard, give a boy a fish, feed him for a day, teach him to fish, feed him for life. I'm gonna give it my all, make it my priority to remember every step along the way that it's in my ability to fish that value exists. If I'm not able to catch anything on a particular day, life moves on and so do I. If what I've caught goes bad or expires, life moves on and so do I. It's in the action. It's in the doing. And that's not only why you can take the risk and shoot for the moon. It's why you must. Be you always. And you might hear that and think, well, that's obvious. That's simple. That's easy. Not if the world has something to say about it. In fact, Emerson is quoted as saying, to be yourself in a world that's constantly trying to make you someone else is the greatest accomplishment. It's not always obvious, but rather the subtle erosion of ourselves. Perhaps not intentionally deciding to wear a mask, just never taking the time to examine the reflection in the mirror and ask the right questions. Losing our intentionality means we end up wherever the wind blows us. And that could very well be a destination we aren't too happy with. Now, this next part will seem a little trivial and insignificant. But bear with me, right? Because sometimes the most important lessons are small, but they become a portal or a gateway to understand the bigger things, right? So for me, this started with a black t-shirt. Walking into a group meeting with some amazing people from all over the country and world doing different things and helping people in various ways. And all of them, as I entered the conference room, happened to be wearing business casual. Which is great, except I haven't worn a collar in a pretty long time. I've been doing my podcast, recording videos, building my businesses in a black t-shirt. And so that's how I walked into the room. And I found it interesting that almost immediately this self-talk emerged. It's like, you stand out right now. They're gonna think less of you. Is this disrespectful? Is this showing that perhaps I don't care, right? All of these things. And so I left that day and I sat with the thoughts. They bothered me, so I wanted to spend some time with them. And here's where I landed, taking those same points one by one. Number one, if they think less of me for being me, then that would be on them and not me, right? I'd gladly fight that uphill battle to earn people's respect in my authenticity. Number two, it's not disrespectful because I am happy to be there, proud to be there. I do take pride in my appearance. I just do it in my way. And number three, be you always, right? How you show up is what matters. Having the courage to live in a way that aligns with who you are and what's important to you. And why do I say this? Because if we can grasp this idea with something as trivial and as small as a black t-shirt in a conference room, perhaps we can then push it into other areas of life. The bigger things, the more important things. Like, who's in that room to begin with, right? Who are we surrounding ourselves with? How do we spend our time? Right? There's two ingredients to this recipe. One, who am I / what matters? And two, how can I position myself so that that is the arena I'm operating in? Sometimes we don't do it because we're scared, but sometimes we don't do it because we never ask the right questions. When you can find and hold your authenticity, you feel it, and so will others. The question transforms from how can I blend in and not disrupt to how can I use the abundance that surrounds me to live a life that's meaningful? There's a lot of us metaphorically walking around in collared shirts when they're not what we're meant to be wearing, right? A lot of us asking, how do I not screw this up? Instead of asking, how do I go get what's mine and do it in a way that matters to me? Be you always. And the closer you are to that, the more powerful you will be. It means understanding who in your life adds to that and who in your life detracts from it. It means looking around and asking, am I doing this for me or for others? It's that old airplane mantra. You have to put your mask on first before assisting others, or no one gets saved. No one gets the value. In a way, life is a beautiful pursuit of simplicity, of really distilling your world down to what matters and pushing away the rest. Because like moths to a flame, the complexity and unnecessary minutia finds us. It latches on and becomes what we carry around. I better not let go, says the lizard brain. This is how things are supposed to be. This is what everyone is doing. But when you find that clarity, truly capture it, yeah, you earn the respect of others around you in that metaphorical conference room, but most importantly, you earn your own respect. you to a greater extent appreciate that face staring back at you in the mirror. Right? Think about it this way. They do not build statues for those who blended in the best, who conformed. Right? No, we build statues for those who had the courage to live in their authenticity, to do things their way. Because we understand how unique, how powerful, how difficult that is. Be you always. There's nothing more powerful than that. The end of a windy dirt road in the mountains of Sedona, I saw what life could be. It wasn't unveiled as though someone turned on the lights, but dripped, one moment at a time, into my soul until the cup was full. Drip, drip, drip. A mural gaining clarity with every step backwards, away from the initial starting point, where I was so close that I could make out nothing but indistinguishable shapes and colors. The end of a windy dirt road in the mountains of Sedona. Life made sense. Drip. Growth is an identity shift, period. Meaning that if human beings follow through on who they believe themselves to be, then one must believe himself to be something new in order to initiate that change. And no, not just see that version of himself, not just acknowledge it, but believe it. As sure as that sun will rise, so will a new version of you. At the end of a windy dirt road in the mountains of Sedona, I was reminded to ask, not is it possible, but Eddie, do you, with your entire being, believe it to be so? The first question is always true. It's the second that waits for your permission. Drip. Weight is transferable. What do I mean by this? Well, hiking up a mountain with 30 pounds on our backs, we saw a few things. Life throws curveballs. Not because the world is bad, but because that's what life does. It's hard. And thank God, because through the storms we learn to become capable navigators. And so in the name of this pursuit, we went up the mountain we climbed. And it was in looking over our shoulders we saw a hidden truth. Sometimes it's the quiet one, the one in the back, not saying much, contemplative, slowly making his way through the elements, eyes determined, locked in. Sometimes he is the experienced climber, already been up and down mountains others couldn't even imagine. Mountains of 30 years, battling autoimmune issues, hip surgeries, and blood transfusions. Sometimes he is carrying far more than 30 pounds of weight on his shoulders, and his fellow travelers, you can't assume that you know what others carry with them. At the end of a windy dirt road in the mountains of Sedona, we were shown that strength is a willingness to help your brothers and your sisters carry that weight when needed. Sometimes it's visible, sometimes it's not. But to always have that hand extended. And just as important, when you are the one with the weight, having the courage to let others give you a hand. The courage to say, look, I've been up mountains and down valleys. I'm working and trying and growing, but right now, this is more weight than I can bear. Can you help? Drip. We far too often give up the great in exchange for the good. Plateau number 1. beautiful. It takes a long time to climb there. And you look down on a world never seen before, an incredible view. It's new, it's exciting, and soon it becomes enough. It's a controversial word, enough. How much does one need? Is life merely an ever-evolving climb? A race to our deaths, to the abyss from which we emerged? Well, here's what we were reminded by a fellow traveler at the end of a windy dirt road in the mountains of Sedona. The effort to go from where we were at plateau number 1 to the top, the very top, the I can see the world from here top, was minimal, perhaps even negligible. It was a mere decision, but the view at the peak was 360 degrees, jaw-dropping, somehow even more beautiful. But most importantly, it was there. It was always there, calling us beyond the distraction that is enough. And perhaps you owe that to yourself, perhaps the world, to not deprive it of your gifts, the very gifts that materialize as you make your way from plateau number 1 to the very top, the peak. Perhaps it's time to acknowledge how much is wasted when we fall in love with enough and not the journey that is a life fully lived. Drip. The gold lives beyond the silence. Silence used to scare me, let alone silence in a crowded room. It was a space in need of an occupier. It was a question in need of an answer. Silence has always been a subtle adversary, one that I would naturally look to defeat with my words. Oh, silence. But at the end of a windy dirt road in the mountains of Sedona, I learned that silence is an invitation, that magic often lives on the other side, that if you let it breathe its slow, calming, methodical breaths, it will breathe wisdom back into you. That 20 beating hearts with the courage to let the drum of silence beat alongside them will see that which they were very recently unable to see. Drip. Power is in letting go. You know this. I know this. We know this because of the narratives we take with us. The signaling our eyes convey to the world, apparently whether we want them to or not. It's never been about the acquisition of more, but the courage to let go, to strip away layers, to tell the right stories, sure, but also less stories overall. To hone in on the important stories. There's no requirement today that says we must be attached to yesterday. There is no life sentence that demands we remain cellmates with past mistakes. At the end of a windy dirt road in the mountains of Sedona, I saw that the freedom to recreate oneself is perhaps the greatest gift each sunrise presents. Drip. You can be the one. A message eloquently conveyed by a carrier who practiced what they preached. Noting whether you were a beggar in a past life or a prince in this one, whether your family heritage is one of poverty or nobility, right now in this moment, you can be the one. It takes one person to stop a trend. One person who says no more, I'm done, this ends here. It takes one person to adjust the compass and begin walking another path entirely. At the end of a windy dirt road in the mountains of Sedona, 40 eyes stared off into space, knowing, feeling, trusting that their journeys to become that one were already underway. At the end of a windy dirt road in the mountains of Sedona, I saw what life could be. It wasn't unveiled as though someone turned on the lights, but dripped one moment at a time into my soul until the cup was full. Drip Drip, drip. A mural gaining clarity with every step backwards, away from the initial starting point where I was so close that I could make out nothing but indistinguishable shapes and colors. At the end of a windy dirt road in the mountains of Sedona, life made sense.